What is love? What is true love? This is a continuation of my series talking about love. In the previous 3 videos, I was comparing unconditional love to conditional love. And to summarize, conditional love is good and to be strived for. Unconditional love is bad and evil and to be avoided at all costs. You should stay away from that. It is a very irrational, bad place to be in. All true, healthy love should be conditional. But in this video, I'll be looking at the positive values of love. And in the next video, I'll be going over the negative or the anti and vacuous values in love. I'm a man that likes to question absolutely everything. What shape is the earth? Is the government good or bad? How did we get here? What is reality? Are we dreaming right now? Is this a simulation? What is love? Is love a good thing? It's so mainstream in every corner of the world that love is what life is all about, whether it's religion, New Age religion, mainstream people without any religious associations, even atheists or scientists and Scientologists, scientism. Doesn't matter what corner or field you're in, people obsess about love. They think it is the highest value and virtue in the world. And that has been a perspective throughout all the ages of humanity and history. But do people really ever stop to question this? People accept it unquestioningly. They just say, love is great, just because it is. My parents tell me they love me. Religions tell me they love me. I should love. I've been programmed to tell other people I love them, whether it's friends or family, relationships, with pets perhaps. Love is everywhere. But how many people actually question it and really know what they mean when they say those words? I think the amount of people who really know what they're meaning when they say those words, could it even be counted on one hand? That's what we're here to find out. For quite a while now, perhaps a year, I've been questioning love, asking, is it actually a good thing? Because when you just look at it on the surface, objectively, you actually do see more bad, far more bad that comes out of love than good. Most wars are fought in the name of love. Love for this God versus that God, love of their country, love of their family, love of this flag and violent totalitarian corporation which is dominating them, love of service and duty. Most evils are committed in the name of love. Look at the Bible, the most genocidal maniac in the history of all fiction, just about, is a loving God. He'll tell you to kill your son, to rape your sister, to stone your mother to death, but he loves you. If you don't do everything he says, he'll let you burn in hell for all eternity, but he loves you. He sent his son down to earth to fix up all these fuck-ups, and he allowed him to be crucified on a cross after he was beaten and whipped and spent 3 days bleeding out on this cross and died. And he did all that because he loved his son and he loved you. So there's this very sick, evil, warped, inverted perception of love that most people have. They say the words and they have some kind of implicit understanding, but they don't really understand it. And I think that's not just bad, it's sad. Why isn't it questioned more than it is? That is an interesting question. And it's one I'm here to find out. What is love? That's why I'm questioning it. I don't have all the answers yet, but I have a lot. I've discovered a lot, and I know there's still much more work to be done discovering what is this whole love thing. Does it exist? Is it just a mislabeling of different emotions like fondness and affection? How is it different to attachment? Like, what is attachment? What is lust? Is it the same as lust? Is it different? Is care better than love? Can you have love if you have no care? There's so many different questions to be unraveled. Like, is love just a feeling? Or is the feeling aspect of love like a secondary quality, a tertiary quality? Is love purely subjective? Or is it objective? Is there rational love, irrational love? Healthy love, unhealthy love? Is there love on a spectrum? How do you discern that? How do you figure all this stuff out? And so that's what I'm working on, and I'm here today to share with you what I've discovered so far. It's not everything, but it's a lot. It really is a lot. I've got many values I'll share with you today. I'm not even going to tell you how many because it may put you off. But there's a lot, and I guarantee there will be more in the future because this is not a finished project. This is a rolling project that is still under construction. And so at this point, when I say at this point, the 24th of August 2025, 11 p.m. on the dot, I phrase it like this because in the future my mind will change and I will update my point of view as I go along making videos on my channel. At this point, I think there is two dominant kinds of love. You have the true, healthy, rational, and selfish kind of love. And then you have the pseudo, like the fake, the unhealthy, the irrational, and the selfless kind of love. And so if you're not familiar with the difference, the true difference between selfishness and selfless, I won't even explain that fully in this video. That would take too long. I have playlists talking about the proper role of selfishness and egoism. If it's the first time you're hearing this concept, just invert your understanding of it. So healthy love is conditional upon these positive values. Or perhaps I will say might be or should be or could be, as this is still a work in progress. Whereas I say unhealthy love is unconditional. Actually, that's going to be an always. Unhealthy love is unconditional. That's a blanket, that's a certain always. I can say that for sure. Though healthy love being conditional upon the positive values or all of the positive values together, that is still a work in progress. But unconditional love is always unhealthy and irrational and fake and is based upon the negative values, as in, and when I say negative values, I specifically mean anti-values, things that pose as apparent values but aren't actually, and they're really an anti-value, something which takes value, or it's just a vacuous, empty, hollow value, a meaningless word. More on that in the next video. So what I'm postulating here is that love may be when you express all these positive values, which will be the focus of the video, and have them returned in kind. I'm thinking it's a harmonization of rational value exchange, the equal giving and receiving, a mutual reciprocation of these positive values, and a clear demonstration. So love might be an emergent, gestalt, climactic culmination produced by the positive value cluster. And yes, I deliberately made that quite verbose and superfluous just for a little bit of fun. So if a relationship in your life has the opposite of these values, then it probably isn't love. Actually, what I need to do before I continue and crack into them, I'm going to give you an overview of what these positive values are. So we have like, time, happiness, care, interest, understanding, respect, empathy, appreciation, regard, fondness, commitment, free, compatibility, approval, principles, profit, history, trying, and comfort, in no particular order. The order is irrelevant at this point. That may change, actually. I might at some point in the future put it from most important to least important. Not that far yet. So when addressing these positive values, if there is an opposite, for instance, time, if someone doesn't want to spend any time with you, it's the opposite of one of those positive values, well, it's probably not love, is it? If, say with like, if someone doesn't like you at all, but they're saying they love you, well, it's probably not, I can't say for certain yet, but it's probably not love or a real healthy love. And so if there is a higher degree of a presence of a value, say above 51%, then the value could be considered an active value in the relationship. For instance, you might have a friend and you love them and you've got all these positive values, but you're not spending time with them at the moment for some other reason. So that would be considered an inactive value because you're not spending time or you don't want to spend time, but you have respect and care and like and all this other stuff, but for whatever reason, you don't want to spend time with them, that would be considered an inactive value. Again, I'm working through this. So when we're considering all these points, think of how you treat them. Have someone in your mind when we're going through this. And I mainly built this to analyze family and friends, loving family and friend relationships, but it's totally applicable to romantic, intimate relationships as well, and maybe with pets. So I don't think you can really love this kind of love an inanimate object. I think it needs to be some other form of life because it has relatability. You'd be pushing the boundaries for pets with this type of love I'm talking about. But family, friends, partners, or you don't even have to say partners, romantic, friends with benefits, or intimate relationships. So the first value is like. I think it's a necessary component of a loving relationship of any kind to have like. You ask the question, do they like me and my company? Do they want to communicate? And so think of someone in your head, or even multiple people, and ask yourself this question. Because maybe you've got someone and you're like, they tell me they love me, but do they? You want to figure out, do they actually love me? Or are they just saying these words with no real meaning behind it? Like, do they show that they like you? They want to communicate. They want to hear more from you. Do they like who I am regardless of association? Like titles, family members or work colleagues or something. Do they like my personality, my values, lifestyle choices? Do they like talking to me? Do they like being with me? Do they want and desire to relate to me? So when thinking of this, you can ask, do they like me? But then you can also be thinking of someone in your head and saying, do I like them? Do I like their company? Do I like their values? Do I like their lifestyle choices? And you do that with every one of these values we're going through. In any relationship, I don't think you're going to get to 100% where you like everything about someone, where you love everything about someone. So that's why I said earlier, if there is a higher degree of presence of a value, say above 51%, if you like more than 51% of things about a person, well, that's putting forth a much stronger case that you actually love that person. But if you like less than 50% of them, well, maybe there could be a problem. I think that's a good indicator. I don't know if I'd say it's giving you certainty about anything, but I think it's a certain indicator that there could be a problem. Next is time. And ask yourself, after each of these values, do you agree with my point of view? Would you agree and say that like is an important value in a loving relationship? Well, in any relationship where you'd want to call someone your friend, your partner, or someone you are really close and intimate with, or your brother, sister, mother, father, son, daughter, uncle, auntie, nephew, niece, work colleague. Do you think that is an important value in a relationship, to like that person and to have them like you too? Because my theory is here that I'm putting forth is that for there to be love, it needs to be mutual, reciprocating. I need to like you and you need to like me. Because if it's a one-way street with all these values, and I'm liking you, spending time, and I care about you and trust all this stuff, but you're not giving me any of that back, and it's completely one-sided, then I'm psychotic. I'm deluded. It's not love then. It's like infatuation or obsession and possessiveness, attachment. It's unhealthy. True love needs to be mutually reciprocated, back and forth. I need to like you and you need to like me. Time. Do they have time for you? Spend time with you. Reply to messages. Answer and return calls in satisfactory time periods. Spend time on calls with you, or spend time with you in person. And is it frequently enough that's satisfactory? Some relationships with people, you might have a great relationship, you only talk to them once a year. Some people you talk to them every day, so that is subjective. That depends on the relationship you have. And so when you're asking, do they have time for you, for me? Remember, with all these points, you ask, do you have time for them? Because if you're in a relationship, for example, but you're thinking, I don't really want to spend time with them. Well, maybe you do love them, but you just don't love them in or that much, or in a particular way. Maybe you can't meet their expectations on time. There's a lot of detail to this and it can get quite complex. Next is happiness. Are they happy to be with me? To talk to me? Do they smile, laugh, and appear to enjoy my company? Do they appear to enjoy our relationship? Because every time you saw your mum or your friend or your girlfriend and they were frowning and looked upset to be in your company, didn't laugh, weren't happy. My goodness, I see this all the time out in public. I think I've got a talent for this now, where I can recognize a relationship where a man and a woman have been together for longer than 6 months because they don't look happy to be together. It may just be an incorrect assumption, but I really think there's something to that. If I see a couple that's out, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They look happy together. Maybe they're either friends or they've been together for less than 6 months. I'm not saying it's impossible to have people to be together and be happy for over 6 months, but it seems to be it's happiness, I think, that is important. What do you think? Do you agree with that? Does there need to be happiness for there to be love? Can you have love absent happiness? Because how often do you see these relationships where people are so unhappy and you're not even seeing behind closed doors what's happening? I've seen cases of men attacking physically their female partner, trying to kill them, where I've had to stop him, no names, of course. And then they say that they want to kill themselves because they're so unhappy, and then nothing changes. They stay in the relationship, they end up getting married. So, is that real love, or is that just desperation and attachment, fear, scarcity, just loss and childhood trauma just manifested in an ugly way? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, can you really, like, happiness over 51%? Really, I wouldn't tolerate anything less than 95%. Like, where are your standards? If you're like, oh, I'm happy in a relationship, as long as I'm happy 30% of the time, then I can love them. If I'm happy 30% of the time, really? The next point is care. To me, care is demonstrable or demonstrable actions to help someone else, physically or mentally. So you ask, do they offer help and act on it? Do they show that they think about you when you're not around, by sending you some message about an injury you have or something you're working on? Does the care extend beyond locality, across distance? Do they only care about you if you live in the same town, but if you move cities or across the country or travel the world, do they still care? Do they act invested in you, viewing you as a long-term source of joy? And this, you'll see, is a theme of mine. I think healthy love is viewed in a way like a business. It should be conditional. It should be transactional. It should be seen as an investment. You should be there to profit and gain. Because when you really think about it, to quickly summarize, if it's unconditional, it's saying, I don't care how you treat me, if you hurt me, if you cheat on me, if you beat me, if you steal from me, and I'll still love you, which is sick beyond imagining. It is so cruel, it shouldn't even be spoken about or entertained as a valid form of love. No, love should be conditional. Like, don't hurt me, look after me, show that you care about my welfare. Basic, simple conditions. Like, how and why on earth should you love someone when you don't have conditions? There should always be conditions. And it should be transactional. I provide value, you provide value. If it's just one person giving everything and the other receiving everything, that's not fair. That's not love, that's exploitation. You should view each other as partners in that relationship, whether it's friends, father and son, boyfriend and girlfriend. You can view it from that partner dynamic. We're a team. Whatever relationship we have, want it to be fair and balanced. We want to profit. We are both in the business of this relationship to profit. We want to gain values. We don't want to lose. And I think the biggest gain you get is happiness, joy from having that person in your life. You could say love as well, the feeling of love. But I think really it comes down to happiness in a healthy relationship with a family member, with a friend, with a partner, is because you profit by the happiness you feel by enjoying their company. And if you're not doing that for them, if you're causing them misery and suffering, and you might be profiting but they're losing, well, again, that's not love. You both need to profit. I really like looking at it from the business perspective, using that as a solid analogy. I think that is a very healthy thing to do. But it's common to hear that used as a negative. People say, oh, you only view your relationships as a business transaction. Yes, I bloody do, and I'm proud of that. But again, someone would only use that as an insult because they don't understand. That's all. So with care, also, I'll touch on the point as an investment. I think with proper love, with people, you should be viewing them as a long-term investment or as a source of joy. You keep putting into them, you keep giving them stuff to help them grow and learn and be safe and healthy and to live longer because you are profiting from them. They're an investment, a long-term investment. You want to keep getting a return from them and you hope that they do the same to you. With care, is there safety and protection demonstrated in action? Has this person ever shown you? I mean, sometimes the situations don't arise and sometimes you don't want them to. For instance, if knife muggers come after your parents, which happened to me in Colombia, I was like, oh shit, okay. I showed care with action and stopped them from being hurt or mugged. And so it doesn't need to be as serious as that. It could be something more simple. And sometimes I think care can be separated from love as well. That's why I asked the question earlier, is care a more important value than just love? For example, one time in Thailand years ago, I saw a man had fallen off his motorbike, and I think he had a Thai woman on the back with him as well. And he was lying on the ground, and he had a chunk missing out of his leg, like, oh, maybe not that big, but it was a big hunk of flesh missing out of his leg. He would not have been having a good time. That looked shit. And I stopped and tried to help him. Not because I loved him. I didn't know the man. How could I love him? It's not even from a love of humanity. It was just because I care about another human life, because I care and I love my standards. I love my values. I love my character. I love the golden rule of equity, to treat others as I wish to be treated. But I didn't love this man because I didn't know that man, but I cared about him. So I did what I could, which was little. It was fortunate, though, that the hospital was 5 minutes down the road and the ambulance got there quite quickly. But that was care, and so it can be argued. Perhaps care is a stronger value than love. It could be argued. But I think for there to be love with someone you do know, love needs to be with someone you know. You can't love people you don't know. I think that's when it's becoming irrational, a pseudo-love. You could care for people you don't know, that's reasonable, and you could respect their rights and their right to life. That's rational. But to love people you don't know, I think that's completely irrational. Because, as I come to later, love needs history, it needs experiences shared together. Otherwise, it's not real love. But care can come from principles and standards and personal values and virtues. You don't need to know someone to care about them, but I think you really need to know someone to love them. There's a difference. So is there safety and protection demonstrated in action? Does this person, do they care about your safety and your protection? Do they take action to help you? So the next point is trust. And inside of trust, I'm gluing together the other concepts of honesty, reliability, predictability, and just general trustworthiness. So when looking at love and trust as a positive value, we ask the questions, do they, whoever this person is, do they keep or break their word? Do you trust them to keep a secret? Like, can you trust what this person is telling you is true? You can't read their mind. Do you trust what they say? Or do you doubt them? Like, do you trust them with your money? If you lend them money, they'll pay you back in a timely fashion. Do you trust them to act in your best interests? Do you trust them to not talk badly behind your back? To arrive on time? Are they reliable? They say, hey, I'll be there at this time. Do you trust them to keep their word and be reliable and to be predictable? I think predictability in relationships is good. If someone says, yeah, I'll call you at this time, I'll be there at that time, you can predict, oh, they will, because they've got a history of being trustworthy, of being reliable, of getting back to me. Oh, they didn't pick up the phone. Oh, okay, I can predict they'll give me a call back within a day because I trust that person and they've shown through experience that they're reliable. I can count on them. Because if you can't count on someone, if they're not predictable like that, oh, well, there's a problem, isn't there? Is their word their bond, or is it their toy? Just something to play with? Do they take it seriously? Can you predict their actions and how they will behave in a way which is beneficial? And can you trust them to be honest, to tell you the truth, to not manipulate or deceive you or conceal important information? Can you trust them to be honest? Perhaps they don't need to be absolutely candid, like, does my bum look fat in this? Say if it looks terrible, for instance, they don't have to say it looks terrible, but to say, honestly, you don't want my answer. Something like that. So yeah, that gets into a little bit of nuance. So what do you think about trust? Do you think trust is necessary for a loving relationship? Because how many relationships are out there? More so in the romantic department where there just isn't trust. there isn't reliability, there's broken words all the time. Just look at the divorce rate with marriages. They say, I promise to be with you forever. And divorce. It's like you can predict they just will break up and divorce. That's not trustworthy. They've been sucked into a human tradition that seems to go against the better interests of our nature. People don't seem to benefit from being bonded in that manner. It doesn't seem to be healthy. All the evidence suggests that it's not a healthy form of relationship to be married. It's just not right. There are much better ways to have loving, intimate relationships with people. I think marriage is one of the last things you'd ever do if you actually cared and loved someone. Interest, okay, that's going to be the next point. Are they interested in my work, my success, my welfare? Are they interested in my happiness, my pain? Are they interested in my challenges, problems, and solutions? Solutions for myself, solutions for them. Are they interested in my other friendships, my passions, my hobbies? Do they give you their attention when communicating? So combined in with interest is also attention, focus, concentration, and curiosity. I want to say that one again. Do they give you their attention when they're communicating and when they're spending time with you? Or are they spending time, just, they're scrolling on their phone while they're spending time with you, just not focusing, not paying attention, not caring. You also get that term, paying attention, spending time. Well, that's right. It's a business transaction. It's a business. Relationships, you're spending your time. You want to be spending it wisely. You want to be spending $100 to get $150 back. You don't want to be spending $100 to get $50 back, to get nothing back, or to be in debt. And I think the more you both pay attention to each other, the bigger your returns are. You put in $100, you get $500 back. That's a nice way to think of it, isn't it? Are they curious to learn more about you and what you've been doing and who you are and who you're becoming? How interested are they? Can they focus on you without drifting? If you're talking to them, do they say, oh, bird over there, oh, my dog, oh, this happened, or the dog's running over there, oh, and they just can't focus, they're fluttering all over the place. Because I think really the more someone can focus on you when you're communicating, because that's the biggest part in a relationship, isn't it? Any relationship is communicating, talking to each other. If they can't focus when they're talking to you or when you're talking to listen to you, it's showing that they're not interested, which means they don't care, and they don't care because they don't like you. And if they don't like you, if they don't care, if they're not interested, if they're not paying attention and focusing, well, it's very difficult to label something like that as love. Do you capture their interest? Do they capture your interest? Do they offer their undiluted presence? You can also say presence is a major part of what interest is. Presence, being here. Can they concentrate on what you're saying? Or do they cut you off and never let you finish? Sometimes you have friendships, relationships, where the other person will just always cut you off. Just what they have to say is more important. It's like, sure, it may be important, but let me finish. Hear what I have to fully say. Because if you're always cutting me off, what's that saying? You're not valuing what I have to say. If you're not valuing what I have to say, you're not valuing me. If you don't value me, why are we playing this charade of friendship? What do you think about that? Do you think interest is important in a relationship? Especially one of a loving manner? Can you have a loving relationship if you aren't interested in that person? If you don't offer your presence, your focus, your concentration, your attention. Can you really love that person if you don't offer any of that, or they don't offer any of that to you? Next, understanding. Does this person understand me? And I'll put this caveat there. You'll never understand someone 100%. Never, probably not even 90 or 80%. But I think what's equally important is not just someone understanding you, but attempting to understand you. That's where trying comes into it later. Someone attempting and trying to understand you. I mean, it would be frustrating if they keep on trying, but they never actually do succeed in understanding you. That would then come back to care. Do they really care? Because if they care, they'd try harder to understand. And it's like, I'm not that complicated, am I? Unless you are really complicated and you're confusing and you keep on changing. That could be difficult to be understood then. But if you're relatively stable, does this person understand me? Do they seek to understand me? Do they speak and act like they know me or don't? Like the way they speak to me, what they say to me about me, the questions they ask me, are they doing it from a place that shows they understand, or they just don't understand? Sometimes you might get people you know and love and have for a long time, and they ask you some kind of question, and you really stop, and it's just one question. You say, that one question kind of makes me doubt like you know me at all. Like, have you been paying attention to who I am for the past 20, 30, however many years old you are? You ask me this. If you knew me, if you understood me, why would you possibly think, what's an example? Kids, I don't want to have kids. If someone who'd known me for 32 years of my life said, hey, are you going to have kids? When are you having kids? I'd be like, well, why are you asking me that? You know I don't want to have kids, and my thoughts on, unless they didn't know that. But if it was something massive, some big thing about you, there's so many things, but I'm afraid YouTube will, flag it. My mind just goes to really controversial things straight away. But if they ask you a question that just shows they don't understand, it can hit you hard. But I don't think that's warrant enough to think they don't care. But these questions need to be asked. Do they show they care about really getting to know me? Do they seek to know you, or just assume they already do? Because a lot of people don't change, they stay the same. But if you're someone who changes over time, and that person has known you for a long time, it could be family who know you for a long time, do they assume they know you, but they're just acting on information from years ago, but you're now actually very different? Even in a 1 year time span, you might change massively over what appears to be a short time to them, 1 year, but to you is 365 days, which is a long time. You can make a lot of changes in that many days. So do they assume they know you, or are they constantly learning who you are, who you're becoming? Understanding. What do you think about that? Can you have a loving relationship without understanding? And I hope you see where I'm going now with all these positive values. When you put them all together, like, this is what I think love is. It's the culmination of all these values together. It's a acting, an action, a set of behaviours combined with a feeling. I'll do a summary at the end. Respect. Does this person respect my ideas? As in, what do I mean by respect? Do they take it seriously? Do they take me seriously, my ideas seriously, or do they think I'm a joke? If I say, don't go in that door, there's a tiger there and it's going to kill you? Do they say, ah, that's just James, he's a bloody idiot, he knows nothing, ha, he's a good guy though, and then they go through the door and they get killed by a tiger? It's like they didn't listen to me because they didn't respect me. They didn't take my ideas or my words seriously because they didn't take me seriously. They thought I was a stupid joke or insignificant or inferior to them. So respect is to take someone's ideas, opinions, solutions, feelings, ambitions, to take all these things seriously, like they matter as your ideas and opinions matter, as your solutions and feelings matter. Ambitions, do they respect your position? Do they respect your time? Or do they waste your time? Do they say they're going to rock up at 3 p.m. to go fishing with you, but then they're an hour late, an hour and a half late, and they don't text to tell you they're running late, they don't call, they don't apologize when they get there? Are you taking that person seriously, your friend, if you're treating them so badly like that? Is that respect? I think that's disrespect. Do they lie, manipulate, deceive, or conceal important or relevant information? And I think honesty can link into respect here as well. Honesty. Because if you don't respect someone, you're not going to be honest with them. I mean, you'll probably find with a lot of these values, they all do link in. They're all related to each other as well. Like you can say with respect, you're going to have trust and reliability. And with respect comes focus and attention. So they all do link in, but they are also distinct. Because I don't think a loving relationship has a concealment of important information. Like if you have a long-term friendship and they don't tell you important things that are going on in your life and they ghost you for 6 months, they cut you out and then they say, please forgive me. You say, why? Why did you ghost me? Oh, I can't tell you that. Just forgive me because I've forgiven you for worse in the past. You're concealing information from me. Why are you not talking to me? If we have a friendship, you should be telling me what the problem is so we can talk about it. Why aren't you respecting me enough to be able to communicate with me? That doesn't make sense. That's not a friendship then. That's not love. Not what I think. What do you think? Can there be a loving relationship without respect? How important is it to you to be respected? Could you ever be with a partner who didn't respect you? I've heard a few stories about women getting in relationships where it sounds like they're not respected at all. Hit, spat on, thrown across the room, completely disrespected. Is that love? I don't think so. Empathy. Does this person attempt to understand my perspective? Can they empathize with me? Can they understand my position in life? That's a thing I'm working on currently, to really try to understand people's positions, to empathize with them a lot and say, this person with their history that I'm aware of, the way they think, what they know, what they don't know, what they like, what they dislike, can I understand why they said that to me, or why they're choosing this career path instead of that one, or why they spent their money on this? Can I understand their position? Can I empathize with them? Do they do that with me? Do they care about my pain, misery, and suffering? Do they attempt to ease it? Do they have compassion for me? Do you have compassion for them? Do they check in to ascertain my state of mind? Like when they say, hey, how you going? Do they actually mean it? That's why I don't like to open with, hey, how you going? With anyone, if I care or love them a little bit or a lot, because you've got to get the conversation lubricated a little bit first before you get to that, because it's a pretty serious question. Why would you be asking people you don't know how they're going because you don't care. You don't really care. Unless you know them. Then you say, like, the only time it should be said as a greeting is when you're sitting down in your therapist's office, speaking to your psychologist, and they say, how are you? And they're being serious because they're getting paid $150 an hour for you to tell them how you are. That shouldn't be an opening in a conversation, even with friends, unless you can judge from their faces or something, their face, that they look really upset. You say, hey, how are you? Well, actually, you wouldn't even say that because if you saw they're upset, you'd say, hey, what's wrong? But I don't like the idea. Yeah, it's not a good idea to ever open with it, is it? Hey, how are you? Say, like, what's going on? That's just a much more appropriate opener. And then once you're talking, then you say, hey, how are you? Because if you're going to ask it, be serious with it. Like, mean what you say. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't be frivolous with your words. Be accurate. Respect yourself. Respect who you're talking to. Be clear, precise, and have clarity. Because we can't read each other's mind. We haven't all spent countless hours studying the objective definitions of words. I might say I judge you, and you take that as a bad thing, but I say, no, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. I judge you, and I judge that in this situation you were very reliable, and I appreciate that. Maybe I'd like you more. And they go, oh, that's what you mean by judgment. Well, yeah. I have to tell you that. I have to be clear and precise with my words because you might use judgment to mean cast shame down on me. It's like, oh, maybe you could use it like that. Judgment is a tool. Depends on how you wield that tool. So that's why we have to be clear with our language because we can't read each other's minds and we have different uses of words. Even if we're still using the correct use of the word, we still have different interpretations and we're not sure of how we're using the word in that exact context. So we have to try to be as accurate as we can when communicating. So how often do they do that and really check in to see how you're going? Do they do it regularly? Like, is that a condition of a loving relationship? Do they do it every day, every week, every month? I don't know. It's up to you. Or is it? Is there an objective standard which would be reasonable? That's what we're trying to figure out here. Do they consider my history and character before speaking or acting? Can they empathize or try to? What are your thoughts on this? Next is appreciation. Do they thank me when I help them? Or do I go out of my way, bend over backwards, break my spine, helping them, and there's not even a thanks? Or there is, but it's so ingracious, so little. Like, do they actually show appreciation and gratitude when you provide value? Is that transaction being profitable both ways? I remember when I helped a mate move one time, and yeah, he was actually very grateful. And that's how he paid me. That was the payment I took. I offered him my help to move, and I was paid with gratitude. So I put $100 in and I got $200 out. So that's profitable in my perspective. He was appreciative and I was appreciative of his appreciation. I was grateful that he appreciated my help. And do people return favors without asking? Like, if you help them move, will they offer help? But it's not needing to keep a tally. Oh, I helped you last time. And ideally, you don't want to remind people, hey, I helped you move, so therefore, can you come and help me do that? I don't want to do that. I don't want to think like that. It's just you help them when they need help and you appreciate it when they help you, and it's just a natural thing. And just gratitude for the relationship itself. Over to you. Can you have a loving relationship without gratitude and appreciation? Maybe. I don't know how long it would last though. Regard. And I specifically mean positive regard. How you think about someone. I was saying the other day, I don't care how you, theoretically someone, think of me. I don't care how you feel about me. I don't care if you love me, if you say you love me. I don't care, because if you're thinking it from the perspective love is just a feeling, if that's what you're thinking and you're not saying love is all these positive values, a combination. I was saying, I don't care what you feel about me, I care what you think about me. How do you think about me? Because if you're saying you love me, imagine a domestic violent relationship, the man saying, I love you. He's saying that. And even let's say he does feel it. And she's thinking, I don't care what you say or what you feel towards me. I care what you think of me. Because that's going to show how you treat me. And he's thinking, if he's beating her up, he's probably thinking she's a stupid piece of shit. She's trash, she's my property, she's scum. But I want to control her because I'm getting sex from her. She's meaningless. But she still means something to me because it makes me feel powerful and controlled to possess her. I want her to be my sex toy. I want her to do things for me, be at my beck and call. And he's thinking all this. And so she's thinking, I don't care what you say and what you feel. What do you think? That's what matters. So that's why I think the feeling is like a tertiary quality. There's like, what you think of someone, how you treat them, and then comes a feeling or something akin to that. The feeling is an end result of mutual, beneficial, reciprocating behaviour of care, of treating each other equitably. You have to have that as a primary quality first, and then the feeling of love, then that comes after. Otherwise, you're getting confused, I think, and mislabeling, if it's romantic, lust. You're mislabeling a feeling of lust and sexual desire, which is nothing wrong with. It's fantastic. I think that's a great thing when used appropriately. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. It's just these emotions. If it's fear or hate or anger, great. They're just tools. There's a train coming. Fear, jump off the train track. Great, it's a tool. If you're afraid all the time walking outside, you're not using the tool properly. Anger and hate, yes, fantastic tools. If you're getting angry, it's a response to a threat to a value. Knife muggers coming to stab my dad. Okay, I get fucking angry. That's a good tool. Knife muggers run away. Okay, not angry anymore. Don't need to use that tool. Because if I stayed angry, that would be inappropriate use of the tool. And I think, you could view love as a tool as well. View it as a tool to treat someone well, to maintain a relationship, to experience profit in the form of happiness and joy. And if you like that feeling of just love itself, that's a profit as well. It's a tool to experience more of it. That's interesting. We'll come back to that at some future point. So how do you think of them? How do they think of you? Would you want them to know how you think of them? And see, that's a tricky one because you may love someone, but you may have these thoughts about them where you're like, they're great, but this thing they're doing is stupid. That's why I'm not a fan of telepathy. I think your thoughts should be private because you may think these things. You're like, I want to break up with them. But then, and you're saying all these nasty things about them, but then but it's not the only thing you're thinking. You're also thinking, I'll give them another chance. Hold on, I'll try a bit harder. Maybe it was actually me who was sending the relationship down a bad path and a negative spiral. Let me change some things. Let me maybe show some more interest or a bit more respect or something and see if I can change it. You might still have those negative thoughts, but they're stupid, they're this, they're that. Okay, I acknowledge those, but let me try. Let me see if I can change those thoughts through actions, by changing my actions, which is going to hopefully and ideally, produce a different result in them, which then change my thoughts about them. Oh, okay, they're not like how I was thinking before. It was actually the way I was treating them was triggering a bad reaction. Oh, okay, that's good to know. All right. But I think it's still important because there's a line. If someone is thinking about you as just, say it's a woman and she's a gold digger and she views you just as a money sack. Like, when's this guy going to die? I just want to inherit his properties and his assets and his gold bars, silver jewels. And that's how she's thinking of you. Well, that's not good. And how do you tell that? Well, that's where it links into regard. How do they regard you? I mean, generally, that's treated generally to your face. Do they treat you in positive regard? Do they talk to you well, privately and in public, where there's at least one other person there? Like, does it look like that person holds you in positive regard? I don't think a healthy relationship should ever have talking down or like insulting the other person or belittling them in privately or in public, but especially in public. Especially, I don't think that's healthy to be doing that. That's not showing a very solid foundation, unless it's in jest, you're mucking around. That can be okay, but still, there's limits to that as well. But also, say if I've got a girlfriend and I go to my mates and I say, oh, she's really hot, but she's a bloody idiot. She's a bloody idiot. Like, well, can you have something loving that comes from that? Can you? I think it makes it harder. Because you might say she's a bloody idiot, but I adore her. I love her, but she's stupid. And there's nothing she can do to change that. Hypothetically. This is still a work in progress. What do you think? How important is it? How much does it matter for what you think about the person? How you think about them? I mean, you don't want to be going out of your way to be putting them down behind their back. Let's move on to the next point, which is fondness or affection. And so I think this is the first point here, or value, which really is a feeling. So fondness is, do you have a feeling to be close and spend time with that person? A feeling of connection. A feeling to protect them from harm and support their happiness. It's like a chest-like feeling that seems to come from your heart. A feeling that their welfare matters. And you can still see fondness, you can feel this for strangers. You might see someone you've never seen before, but you just have a feeling of fondness or affection for them. See if you notice that, because I've noticed it recently, this week actually. I was like, I feel a fondness for this man. I've never met him, but he reminds me of a friend. He reminds me a bit of my dad. He's a stranger, but I feel fondness towards him. How interesting. So you've got to separate that. That's not love. Couldn't love him, I don't know him, but I feel a fondness. What is that fondness? Well, it's that feeling to protect that person from harm, support their happiness, a feeling that their welfare matters. Not just to you, but in general, like their welfare matters. Their life is important. So can you have love without this feeling? So I don't think you can have love without this feeling. Because I think love is this feeling combined with all the other elements. I think this is probably the dominant feeling in love, but it's combined with all these other elements which amp it up and intensify it. Commitment. So you could say commitment or loyalty. Do they stick around when the going gets tough? Do they leave or stay during times of crisis? Do they work through issues with you? Like if you fight, are they gone like that, or do they apologize? Are you able to make up if it's a little conflict? Can you work through it, or you're always looking for an exit, for a way to cut them out? Are they loyal to your relationship? Loyalty is only good if it's a rational relationship. Loyalty in an irrational, selfless, unhealthy pseudo relationship is not good. You don't want to be loyal to someone who hurts you. Are they committed to mutual prosperity? And sometimes this is why friendships can be more valuable than relationships, because sometimes friendships last longer than relationships. Like romantic relationships, like partnerships, intimate partnerships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. Like friends can last longer because there can be a stronger commitment to friendships. Someone might be really serious and committed to friendships, but they don't want anything to do with romantic partnerships. Like they don't want any serious commitment to a romantic partner. They might have women always say, "You've got a problem with commitment. You just can't commit." Oh, I can commit to serious friendships, but I don't want that kind of commitment because there's a whole different set of rules and expectations and social conditioning and all these other loss of freedom that come with that. It's not a commitment problem or a loyalty problem. It's an obligation problem, which some people may have, which I do. So what do you think about commitment? Can you have a healthy relationship without commitment? Next is free. As in, is the relationship freely chosen or is it forced upon you? A great example is arranged marriages. Or you could say family as well. Family is forced upon you, but do you choose to stay with your family? If you had family that were not good for you, then you should cut them out. If your family is good to you and for you, fine, then it's freely chosen. But if they're bad, well, yeah, you should cut them out. So that's what I mean. It needs to be freely chosen and maintained. No force to it. No pressure, no expectation. So that's the idea of marriage, I think, is counterintuitive to love. It's an inversion of love because now it's not free. Now it's got legal contracts and governments and public declarations of just stupid, insane things that make no sense. We promise to stay together forever, regardless if we grow to become incompatible and we are unhappy with our relationship 10 years in the future, 1 year in the future, 50 years in the future. We promise in front of all these people we will never separate. We are forever together. It's like, that's just literally stupid, unhealthy. That is not love. That's not love, objectively. One day I'll make a whole video about the lunacy and destructiveness of marriage. It's just a bad idea. And my point is, I'm not against people being in a committed, loving relationship until they die, 100 years old, whatever, 1,000 years old. No problems with that. But just, you don't get married to do that. That takes away the love. It's coming from a place of fear, not love, because love needs to be free, not chained. That's what married literally means. It means to be chained and bonded. You're getting married. It's like with two ropes. You marry them together. You bond them, you splice them, you tie them together, two ropes. You're marrying something. Not healthy. It's not good. Not a good idea at all. Because now it's forced. Now there's so many repercussions from the biggest, baddest gang in the world, the government, all these legal, financial situations that come into it. Oh yeah, I'll save that for a dedicated video. That is my perspective. I don't think there can be proper, true love if it's not free. If it's forced, no. For example, if you have a great alien that looks you in the eyes and uses some kind of telepathic technology to induce a state of love into you, which is a very common reporting, by the way. If you've never studied that topic, I forgive you if you don't understand, but it's a very common reporting that people who have been abducted will feel an induced state of love. That's forced. That's not real love. Or when people have NDEs, near-death experiences, and they're confronted by the light, and they feel the most overwhelming love coming from this light they mistake as God. It's forced. It's like, it's just a drug. It's a drug that's entering into their spirit body via their visual system. It's messed up. It's so messed up. It's forced. True love needs to be free. It's like, it needs to be gently held, like sand. I like that analogy. If you hold sand tight, right, the sand just pops out your fingers. You can't hold on to it. That's marriage. It's holding on tight. It's not love. You're not going to hold on to anything worth holding on to like that. Hold it gently. Hold the sand. Hold your love gently in your hands. It's going to be okay. Or the butterfly. You know, butterfly lands in your hand. If it wants to fly away, let it fly away. Don't hold on to it. You'll crush it. You'll kill it. You'll destroy it. You'll ruin it. Simple analogies, but very impactful. Compatibility. Do you share common interests, values, ambitions, ideas, goals, attitudes, hobbies, likes and dislikes? So you can see compatibility as commonality, because it's hard, very hard, to like someone, let alone love them, if you don't have compatibility, if you don't like any of the same things. What are you meant to talk about if you have no common interests? That can be challenging. Do you relate to each other? And so I think this is an important factor as well, because you might like someone's company. Say two philosophers. One of them is an objectivist and another is a subjectivist, and they like getting together every Thursday afternoon for lunch and discussing their opposing views about philosophy and the world. And they enjoy each other's company, and they like having their arguments and conversation, saying, well, you're wrong because of this, you're wrong because of that, and they get some value out of it. But because they're unable to agree on so many things, they don't have these common values they share because they've got a completely different philosophy. They can't fully relate to each other. I think relating to someone else is acknowledging the things that you share the same mind about. You have the same perspective. Hey, you like cats. I like cats. Oh, we can relate about that. You like going to the gym. I like going to the gym. You like thinking. I like thinking. Whatever it is. So what are your thoughts? Do you think you can have any relationship without compatibility? Approval. Do you approve of their friends or partners? Do you approve of their perspectives? Do you approve of their methods of thinking? Of their attitudes, their desires? Do you approve of how they spend their time, their money? Or do you believe they waste their time and their money? Do you disapprove of that? Do you approve of what they focus on and what they ignore? Do you approve of the way they look after themselves and their physical and mental health? On the way they earn money? Not just spend it, but earn it. And they may be a drug dealer and you're like, I don't approve of that. They may be a police officer, you're like, I definitely don't approve of that. Do you approve of their choices and their position? Because if you find yourself disapproving of more than you approve of with someone, love would be very challenging, and it may be questioned if it is rational or irrational. Maybe. That can be a difficult one. I think, because with family, I think there is more leeway for some strange reason. And that strange reason is just biology and more time, really, and social conditioning that family has extra value. And there can be a benefit to that, because with a lot of these points you may have some leeway with, say, compatibility, with common interests, with things you approve of, and you may still love this family member. But with friends and romantic lovers or partners, friends with benefits, intimate partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife, you want to have much more focus on these. You need to have a much higher rating of your compatibilities, your approvals, your principles. That's what I think. If you disagree, please let me know. Next is principles. I think this is so important. It needs to be its own point. Like, do you share some or many, all, probably not all, ever? Or maybe with principles you might, I don't know, that's a really hard one. But you want to share enough. Fundamental principles and outlooks on life. Like really big overarching beliefs and perspectives on the world. For instance, whether or not you think government is good or bad, they're to help us or to kill us. If you think jibby-jabbies are good and everyone should be forced to have them, or that you'd never get one again in your life. That capitalism and sovereignty is good, that reliability and trust is good, that you shouldn't punch each other in a relationship. You want to have the same fundamental, big, overarching principles. That any relationship should have trust and honesty and reliability, for instance. That's a principle. Like you shouldn't steal money from whoever you're in a relationship with, for instance. Like that's a principle. You're not a thief. You're not a liar. You're not a murderer, a rapist, a politician. You have values, virtues. Principles might be something that's also really valuable. You might say you're an atheist, but they're a Christian or some other religion. Like, is that a big enough deal for you? Like some people, a Christian and a Muslim might not ever get together, or someone spiritual with someone who has a religion, so you have to figure out these principles for yourself. But I think if you have such a big degree of difference in your principles, that can make love. Or you might still have love, but it's at like say 50%. The more principles you share, the more of these values you have, the higher, like the more common interests, the more time you spend, the more principles, the more you approve of them, then the higher and the higher the love gets. It's one way to look at it, to like try to quantify this. The next point is profit, as I've been alluding to earlier. Do you profit from the relationship? Are you gaining more than you're losing? Like hopefully you shouldn't be losing anything. You think about that. You don't ever want to be losing, you just want to be profiting. You want that business, you want the net profit higher. You never want to be in the net loss. Any day, any month. Oh, sometimes maybe in a day because something bad happens and that can be forgiven. But overall, yeah, maybe look at it as a business. Per month, per year, you always want to be in the profit, gaining. What do you think? If you were never profiting, if you were never gaining value in happiness or gratitude or whatever you're measuring that gain and that profit in, do you think you can have love? Or do you think you can have a relationship? History. This is why I think it's so crucial. You can't just walk up to someone on the street and be like, oh, she's so beautiful, I love her. No, that's not love, that's lust. You just want to fuck her. Okay, that's fine, but that's not love. Love takes time. Or, oh, I met Jesus and I love him. You don't know Jesus. You have no history, no experience, no personal relationships or conversations. You haven't gone to the shop and bought socks together. You haven't cooked an alpaca omelette together. Yeah, that's probably a thing. History. So is there many shared experiences, physical or non-physical? Some of my closest friends are voice messages or phone calls because I'm traveling. I'm not in the country where all my friends are in Australia. I'm traveling all around the world. So, but obviously if you have physical interactions with someone, it is going to be more valuable than digital. And normally, the longer you know someone, the more experiences you have, the easier it is to love them, or the more likely there's going to be love for them, because you've just done more things together. You've got more reference points, there's more memories. Provided, of course, this history and these experiences are good. The bad history and the bad experiences, that shouldn't lead to love. No, it should do the opposite. What do you think? Can you have love without history, without experience? Okay, I'm almost done here. I was going to give a summary of love at the end, but I'm not anymore because I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired. We got 2 more to go and then we're going to cut it, and then I'll make another video soon and I'll go over some other points about love and then negative values. So trying. Do they try? Is there trying? Because someone might not understand you, might not have that much time for you because they're really busy with legitimate commitments, perhaps. But they're trying to understand. They might give you your time and they sit down and talk to you, and they're doing the best they can with their capacity, because we have to empathize, remember? Empathize and understand their position, their capacity, their history, who they are. Like, I know the right thing to say if I was in that position, but understanding that they don't. They don't know. If you're depressed or something, and you're like, why don't they know what the right thing to say? Because they haven't studied depression and how you handle that. They've never been depressed, whatever the situation may be. But are they trying to show interest in you, to help, to show that they care? I think that is quite crucial, because if someone's not trying in a relationship, I think it shows that they don't care. What do you think? Next, and last, comfort. Do you feel comfortable and safe in speaking to them about important topics? And I get it. Sometimes with family, there might be some things you talk about with your dad that you don't talk about your mum, and vice versa. You talk about girls to your male friends, and then to girls you might, what do you talk to girls about? You talk to girls about sexual fetishes and fantasies that you might not talk to your male friends about. Yeah, so there's certain people and friends that you feel more comfortable with talking about a particular topic than another, and that's understandable. But if you can't speak to them about anything important in your life, now there's a problem, I think. Are you open to being vulnerable and supported by them? And by vulnerable, I mean sharing some idea or something about yourself where they could judge it negatively and then insult you or hurt you about that. I'll say you were gay, and you're like, if you were gay, could you tell them you were gay? Or you couldn't because they would turn that against you and they'd tell everyone, they'd post on Facebook and they'd just make a fool out of you. And it'd just be, it might not really piss you off, but it'd just be annoying. You're like, that's childish, that makes me feel uncomfortable, that's disrespectful. So whatever the topic is. Or do you feel supported by them? Because you don't want to feel afraid that if you say something to someone that they'll hurt you for it. And sometimes it can be very easy to hurt people. It can be accidental. So people might not open up to you because they tell you something that they know you're not going to approve of, but they want your advice, or they just want to be open with you, and they know you're going to judge them poorly. They're like, hey, I did heroin. You're like, oh man, come on, heroin. They're like, oh, you're hurting me, you're not helping me. So it can be tricky sometimes. I do understand. I wouldn't put comfort, I wouldn't rate that as high as a value as care or trust, for example. I think it is important, but it's not an absolute factor. What do you think? How important is comfort? I think if you're in a romantic relationship, I think you have to have comfort in that kind of relationship for sure. No, but some friendships and family members, the comfort can differ a lot. But okay, as I said, I'm done. I've spoken enough for tonight. I've had it. I'll continue very shortly. I'd love to hear your feedback. And you see, we also use the term love colloquially or generally to mean I'd really like and appreciate. That's how I used it in that context. I'd love for you to comment. I really like and appreciate. Or you say, I love that laptop, I love that car. I really like that and I appreciate it. Whereas the love you have for a person, that's different. I'm stopping talking right now. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.